Mm. Hello my friends, this is Jeannie. Welcome to my channel. For those who are returning visitors, welcome back and thank you. This is another Create With Me series. In this series, I'm going to share with you my process for making pocket letters. I will share with you my thoughts in selecting paper, in selecting embellishments. I will show you how I cut down the 12 by 12 sheets of paper that I traditionally use when creating my pocket letter. I'll show you how to cut them down so you can maximize. You'll get enough for your pockets, plus you'll end up with a strip wide enough and long enough to create a belly band around your pocket letter. Um, let's see, belly band, belly band. Do I have here? Let me show you what I mean by belly band. So here's a pocket letter that I recently did and it's getting ready to ship. This is a belly band, okay? When I ship my pocket letters, I like to wrap them in tissue paper and use some paper to create a belly band. It just makes for a really pretty appearance. So that's what I mean by belly band. I'll share that with you. And yeah, and I'll just share with you some tips along the way. I'm going to try to make this a two-part video. I'm going to try really hard not to go beyond 2 videos. I most definitely cannot get it done in one video because it takes me at least an hour, if not longer, to make pocket letters. And that's even, even that only happens if it's a well-planned, well thought out, everything's ready to go. In this series, I'm going to share with you, from beginning to end. So it's going to take me even longer than an hour. And I don't want to torture everyone with an hour-long video. I'm not going to do it, and especially myself. I don't want to upload an hour-long video. So I'm going to get it done in 2 videos. This first video, we're going to discuss materials. I'll show you how to cut the paper, and we'll end with a nice basic layout for a pocket letter, and we'll build on that layout in the second video where I'll show you how do you like that word, make how to make or create the different little cards for the individual pockets. It'll make more sense as we go along. So the paper, well, actually, even before the paper, let's start with the pockets themselves. You can pick up the standard size pocket sleeves that I use for pocket letters just about anywhere. I pick up mine through Amazon. In fact, I bought 1 box so long ago, but it was a box of 100. So I have lots of them to hold me over for a good long while. The brand that I use is Ultra Pro Silver Series. I love this. I love the thicker plastic. I think it's just a better quality. I've tried brands from the Dollar Tree and 99-cent type stores, but I was getting so frustrated with them that I just decided to go ahead and invest in a name brand. I kept ripping them. They were getting scratched. They were getting scuffed. I just wasn't happy with the feel of it. These I'm very happy with, so this is traditionally what I work with. In terms of paper, I traditionally use a 12 by 12 size sheet from one of the many paper pads that I have. Today I'm going to go with this Enchanted paper pad by Recollections. I picked this up at Michael's a long bit ago. I don't know, it's been over a month, I would say, right? And this paper is absolutely gorgeous. I'll do a quick little flip through for those who are not familiar with it. I already made 1 pocket letter using this. I made a unicorn themed pocket letter, and I'll link that video down below so you can check that out. That is not a process video. It's just a kind of project share video. So this is going to be a process video. Okay, so if you want to learn how I make them, this is the video you want to watch. I'm going to use this sheet of paper For the front of the pocket letter, I love the way it mimics kind of like waves of the ocean, and it has those ocean-like colors. And I'm going to use, yes, this one for the back of the pocket letter. Okay, mermaids love it. So, or was it this one? Oh my gosh. Nope, it was the first one I showed you. It was this one. This one, this one. Goodness gracious. So, I pull those sheets. I have my nifty paper trimmer. So let's go ahead and start cutting some of this paper. I also have somewhere, oh my gosh, you know what? I showed you the paper, and what I didn't show you were embellishments. Once I select the papers, before I even start cutting, what I do is I go through my stash and I pull out embellishments that I think coordinate with the paper. And in pulling my embellishments, some of the things I keep in mind are that, number one, each pocket is only 2.5 by 3.5 in size. So whatever embellishments I use need to work with those dimensions. It needs to be proportional to that particular size, 2.5 by 3.5. I don't want anything that's too big, that's going to take over the entire pocket so that you can't really see the background paper, or you can't see other embellishments that I might add on it. I also take into account that I don't want to add too much dimension or girth to each pocket, because when your pockets when there's too much dimension or it's overstuffed, things slide out. So when you're shipping them, mailing them, or even while as you're building them, it's frustrating when the contents of your pocket keep sliding out. You just, it's frustrating. So I try not to add too much dimension. In terms of dimension, the most that I'll add is maybe the thickness, right, or the dimension of a standard flat back pearl. That's probably as dimensional as I get. I also try to pick items that work well together. So, you know, I look at a theme, be it either color or something else. In this case, it's not necessarily color, it's more mermaids. Okay, so I pulled out stickers, flat back pearls, bling, you name it, I pulled it out. I also pulled out some sequins because I'm thinking shaker pocket in the center, but that's not a definite. But these are beautiful. I don't know if the camera's going to pick up these gorgeous colors. Blues, purples, pinks, and oranges. And I also have some washi tape. We all have washi tape. We sure do. Here is some beautiful washi tape. This is actually not washi tape. This is iron-on trim tape. I've never used it before, but I love the colors. I thought that this kind of reminded me of a mermaid's tail. You know, not that I've ever seen one in real life, but in my mind, I'd imagine that's what they would look like, and I love the colors. I got like this beautiful kind of sea green and this beautiful rose color. So that's what I'm working with in terms of embellishments, okay? And obviously you'll work with whatever paper and theme works for you. Then first thing I do, once paper selected and embellishments are kind of pulled out and scattered about me to inspire me, is I cut down my 12 by 12 sheet of paper. Okay, so I have a little cheat sheet here. I want to cut my paper in a way that maximizes the use of the paper, and I have found that cutting down a 12 by 12 to 10 by 10.5 creates more than enough pocket, more than enough sheets for each of the pockets. You'll have some extras that you can use down the road for other things, maybe ATCs or another pocket letter. It also leaves you with a nice strip of paper that you can use to make your belly band. So let's go ahead and start cutting. Now, one of the things you have to kind of take into consideration when cutting down pattern paper is the pattern itself and how you want it to lay out in your pocket letter. I want this background to look like waves in the ocean. So when all is said and done, I want the waves to go across my pocket letter, not, you know, from top to bottom. I don't want it to look like this. I want it to look like this. Okay, so keeping that in mind, I'm going to cut down my paper. Okay, so the first cut I'm going to make is, like I said, you're going to cut it 10 by 10 and a half. The side that you cut on the 10, okay, and I'm hoping this is going to make sense. The side you cut down to 10 is going to be the side that's going to form the 2.5 edge of a 2.5 by 3.5 size pocket. I hope that makes sense. Let me just show it to you. Okay, so, okay. This is the way I want my pattern to go. This way. Okay, so knowing that's how I want my pattern to go, the first cut is going to be 10. Okay, 10. 10. All right. And you see this? This I can use as a belly band, so I'm going to put that to the side. Okay, so that's my 10. The next cut I'm going to make, I'm going to turn this over, is 10 and a half. Right? 10 and a half. So I'm going to line that up, and I'm going to cut that. 10 and a half. And this is just pretty scrap that you can use for other projects. Now I'm going to turn this back on the side of the 10, and I'm going to measure 2.5, 2.5, and cut. Okay, I'm going to measure another 2.5 and cut, and another 2.5 and cut. Okay, so now I have 4 strips of 2.5 by 10.5 papers. Okay, and I'm going to try, if you have a pattern and you want to lay out that pattern on the front of a pocket letter so that you kind of maintain the pattern without mixing up the pieces, just keep track when you're cutting of where you're placing things on your desk, and you'll have no problems putting that pattern back together even after it's cut. So here are my 4 strips. Now what I'm going to do is take one strip, and I'm going to cut it down in 3.5 size increments. So I'm going to measure 3.5, cut, another 3.5, cut, and then this last one is 3.5. So each strip that I cut is going to give me 3 cards that I can use in my pockets. Okay, and I'm going to try to keep these pockets, or these little strips, I keep calling them pockets, I call them strips, I call them cards, whatever you want to call them, inserts. Let's call them inserts. I'm going to try to keep the inserts in order so that I can put them back, keeping the integrity, or maintaining the integrity of the pattern. So next strip, right? Bum, bum, bum. 3.5. 3.5. Okay, and there's 3 more. I'm going to put those to the side, keeping track of my pattern. And then I'm going to repeat that. Now that last strip, I only need 9, right? So that last strip, I don't necessarily have to cut down, but I do, just to have extras in case I screw up a pocket along the way, which I have been known to do, okay? Or maybe I want to, you know, make some coordinating ATCs. Or sometimes I just put them in my stash and save them for another day. Okay, so I'm actually going to cut down this strip. Okay, 3.5. Three and a half. And then that last one is 3.5. Okay, so there are my pockets for the front. So here we go. Okay, I think this is looking good. If I can slide it in. I will tell you something a little about me. I actually struggle with depth perception. Yeah, I have a long-standing history of vision problems. I was born, for all intents and purposes, practically blind. But through a series of surgeries and modern medicine, my vision is definitely there, but what I don't have, or what I struggle with, is depth perception. So a lot of the times you might see me reaching for something and I miss it, or I'm trying to put something in a pocket and I keep missing the pocket. That's what that is. Sometimes, because I have limited peripheral vision, sometimes I also walk into walls. So it's goofy, and most people don't even know that I struggle with it. But just putting that out there in case you see me do something as silly as miss a pocket or reach for something and miss it. That's what it is, my friends. Depth perception issues and no peripheral vision. So here is the front. Isn't that gorgeous? And you see how you maintained that pattern. So now you have the waves going across. And if I were to pull these all out and tape them together, it would be that sheet of paper pattern intact. And that's, for me, that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, so that's the front of the pocket letter. That's a good base to work with. Now what I'm going to do is repeat that same process for the back. In this case, I'm going to use this beautiful mermaid paper for the back. Okay, so let's cut it down. So you get to see me do it one more time in case you missed it the first time. Okay, so we want our paper, our pattern to be this way. Obviously, we don't want mermaids on the side like that in our pocket letters. So I'm going to cut, the first cut is going to be that 10 cut. Okay, what you can also do, like I'm looking at this paper and I'm thinking in advance, I'm thinking ahead, I'm thinking belly band. If I cut on the 10, right? If I cut on the 10, I cut here on the 10, I'm going to be left with a strip of paper where the mermaids are not going to necessarily be facing in the direction I need them to face in order to create a belly band. Okay? So how do you address that? You can, instead of starting to cut on the 10, you can cut on the 10.5. Okay? If you cut on the 10.5, you're left with a 1.5 strip for a belly band, which is not as wide as I like, but it most definitely works. Okay, in my case, because this mermaid pattern, the mermaids are so big, I don't think that 1.5 pattern or that 1.5 wide strip will work. I need it to be 2 inches, so I'm going to go ahead and just cut on the 10. Okay, so here's the 10. We're going to cut, and this is that paper you can use for a belly band. You know, granted, the mermaids are not necessarily facing the direction you want them to face, but that's okay. They can just be swimming around. You can make that work. So there's the 10 cut. Turn it, cut at 10.5, 10.5, and let's see. Actually, I'm going to cut it that way so that I don't cut too many of the mermaids' heads off. There's my 10.5. This is pretty scrap that I can use for something else. So now here I have, right, this 10 by 10.5 square paper, or little off, not quite square. I'm going to start cutting those 2.5 wide strips, right, 2.5. And I'm going to put the papers, the strips next to each other so that I remember the pattern. 2.5. 2.5. Here are my 4 strips. Okay, I'm going to take that first strip, turn it, cut it 3.5. Then another 3.5. Put those to the side. Here's my next one. 3.5. 3.5. 3.5. Right? And 3.5. Okay, so we'll put these over here. And this last strip, I'm not going to cut. I'm going to actually keep this whole. Just because the paper's so pretty, I don't want to cut it. I think I can find more uses for it, leaving it whole that way. Let me put my trimmer to the side. Here's our pocket letter. Here's the front. Here's the back. Let's go ahead and add. Here we go. So okay, how cute is this? Super cute. And you see how we kept the integrity of the pattern? My gosh, I have little black hairs all over my desk from my kitties. One of my kitties likes to sleep on my craft mat. Naughty kitty. So the first thing I have to do before I start any projects on my desk is go through with one of those mini vacs and sweep up all his hair, but I don't always get it all. What are you going to do, right? You have cats, that's what happens. You just have to be willing to clean up after them. That's all you can do. All right, and there's the back. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that pattern. You have the pattern, and they're perfectly cut squares. And here's the front. Okay, so we are at 24 minutes long. So I think I'll stop the video here, and I think in part 2 what we will do is work on embellishments. And oh my gosh, look at all this. I'm thinking shaker pocket in the center. Okay, what do you think? I'm thinking shaker pocket in the center with maybe a little mermaid. in the background, so it looks like she's just swimming in a sea of sequins. Love that. I just might do that. Okay, and this, I'm thinking to trim the pocket letter. I like to trim the spine of the pocket letter, or maybe can even use it to trim some of the individual pockets. So many options, my friends, so many options. I'm going to sit here, think about this for a little while. Feel free to leave comments down below on anything else that you would like for me to focus on in part 2 of the video. I'm going to try to get this up and posted this week, and probably Wednesday, and maybe later this week post the second part, hopefully completing the pocket letter. But here's part 1. I think we have a good base. Hopefully you've picked up on how to cut down a 12 by 12 sheet of paper so that you can maximize the use of the paper and also cut in a way that you keep your pattern. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them down below or send me a PM, or you can email me at happilyellaafter@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching, my friends. I truly do appreciate it, and I hope you will visit me again. Until next time, bye-bye.